Hi, Ray Poynter here, and we're looking at Copilot again. We're looking at Excel, and this time a really interesting addition, which is Python. So this is in the context of a course I'm running soon on mastering Excel with Microsoft Copilot to boost your productivity. And this video and one or two other videos I'm producing are some of the things that we'll be covering in that course. So Excel has Python. That's really quite exciting. At the moment, it's only for business users. If you've got a personal Excel license, it won't be there. It's only for the online Excel, and if you're a Windows user, you can use it on Windows too. But those of us on a Mac, we have to use it online. But generally speaking, if I'm using Copilot and Excel together, I find it's best to run it through the Edge browser and use the online version. So you can, if you've got Windows, run it, or in fact online, run it without Copilot. So if you're in Excel, you can type in =py Python brackets, and the function will be there. But I wouldn't really recommend it. If you're great at Python, you can do that. But if you're great at Python, you don't really need this method of accessing it. I think it's much better to use the LLM in Copilot to help you get the right Python code to do the tasks you want to do in Excel. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. I'm going to take a set of data and I'm going to do a cluster analysis on it. So not a trivial analysis. So here's the data I'm going to use. It's 1,000 interviews. It's a standard set that I use for all sorts of testing. It's synthetic data, so there's no personal information at risk in this data set. And I click on the Copilot icon in my ribbon. It brings up that side panel for me, and I can type in an instruction. And it's a fairly detailed instruction. Using Python, cluster the data based on the answers to column D to J. Add a new column to the original data, call it clusters, and put the cluster membership in it. Then create a table with the clusters as the columns and the satisfaction scores from columns D to J as the rows, and show me the average score for each cluster for each satisfaction question. And when I do that, the first thing that Copilot does is it adds a new sheet to my workbook, and this is the analysis sheet. And it's going to put some of its results, some of its thinking, and all of its Python code will be stored in this sheet. So as it goes through, it starts generating some information for me in the Copilot panel on the right hand side. It's telling me what it's done. It's telling me that it's running through the process, and then it tells me that it's completed it. It shows me the cluster scores. I'd have to scroll to see all of them, but I can see that it's produced 4 clusters. It's called them clusters 0, 1, 2, 3. Python loves starting counting at 0. Most of us like to start counting at 1. Python is one of those languages that starts at 0, and we can see some of the numbers there. So I ask it to show me some of that information. Here is that information in an easier way to look at it, and we can see what's going on there. But I can add to a new sheet as well. So I'm looking at it in the analysis page. It's got a button to say add results to a new sheet. I click that button, and first of all I look at the updated raw data, and now we have cluster membership in column P. So we've got that. We can take it somewhere else. We can run it through a tables program or something like this. Also, I created another sheet which has got the results of the cluster memberships, and I've updated the formatting. I put in the conditional formatting. I told it to only display 1 decimal places. I gave it a bit more room for the headings. And we can immediately see that cluster 0 doesn't like anything. Cluster 1 is a bit so-so about everything. Cluster 3 likes everything except the hotel amenities. And cluster 2 likes everything. So we can see why that's formed these 4 clusters. We could take that away. We could do all sorts of analysis. One of the options that Copilot suggested was, do you want to look at a chart of that? So I said, yes, show me a chart. And what we can see is the varying scores on satisfaction with hotel amenities. That's the right hand bar in each one of those, a sort of a purpley colour. And that's one of the key differentiators. And then we have the overall level of satisfaction varying, very low for 0, bit higher for 1, 2 and 3 are generally high, which is what we saw a moment ago. You can actually see the Python code. So on that analysis sheet, if you click on the places where it's put the code, you can then see all of that code. And actually, if you wanted to, you could edit it if you wanted to make it do slightly different things. So for example, I have just gone to the print command and added printed for Ray to it, simply to highlight what's going on. And then when we look at the chart, it's changed that output. So you are in control of that Python. They've got all sorts of chunks of Python in the analysis sheet. You can go in and tweak that code and get it to do slightly different things if you want to. So that's the overall picture. Python is now available. You can use it to make Excel so much more powerful. You're not limited just to the built-in functions and what you can write with macros. You can use a real language that can pull in libraries to do things like clustering. And I think that is a massive step forward. If you want to know more about using Copilot to master Excel, then come along and look at our upcoming courses at researchwiseai.com/academy/upcoming-courses. I hope to see you there.